Hey there, excited to unbox a new knife that I've been waiting on. There's a bit of eBay selling been going on for me lately. I sold a few fixed blades. I go through these phases where I go folders, fixed blades, multi-tools. It's in a real fixed blade spot for a while, but I've got 2 or 3 knives that just haven't been beat so far. Falcon-Niven A1, Falcon-Niven F1, and the LT Wright Genesis. So I'm just kind of stuck on those, and others come and go. Yeah, just back to folders for a little while. So anyway, so I sold a few knives, and I've got this folding knife that's arrived today. So let's break it down, have a look at it, and do a old-fashioned unboxing. Alrighty, so this knife comes from the seller Trusted Homewares, which is an eBay seller with not a huge amount of feedback just yet, but they're in Queensland and they sell lots of high-end Spyderco and Benchmade knives. This Benchmade Griptilian in the 20 CV steel is from them. It's always a bit of a gamble when you go with a sort of a somewhat untested seller, but this is my 3rd knife from them, and if you get express post, you really do get it definitely in 3 days time so far. It's weird because the tracking wasn't really coming out, so I was like, oh, maybe they haven't even sent it yet, but then here it is today. So the tracking went from not active yet to in my mailbox. From Queensland to South Australia, so it's about as far as you can send something between 2 points in Australia. So there we go. So this knife here is the Spyderco Mantra from Spyderco. It's their first titanium flipper knife. I chose to get the Mantra 1 because it seems to me, if you look at the Mantra 2, they both got released at once, it seems like the blade would be a bit heavier, which would therefore make it a slightly better flipper. So let's bust this Mantra plain edge open. And there we go. So covered in a nice liberal amount of oil there. Straight out of the box. Let's have a see. I really liked that lanyard loop with its sort of stainless steel hollowed out standoff. I really like that see-through construction. It's got the classic Spyderco pocket clip, the wire clip, which I think the Dragonfly has. Really, really good. It's a nice, fairly firm one, I believe. That is reversible as well. This is titanium here, and the discoloration is just from a bit of oil that was on the blade there. It's a frame lock with a stainless steel over travel and insert to stop lock stick and also to stop over travel. There's the flipper tab there. You'll notice it really does look a lot like a Spyderco Delica. It's just sort of a steel or a titanium or metal handled version of it. Very, very similar. The obvious features of difference are the flipper. Let's engage that. Nice. The flipper. And also the slightly different blade shape. Delicas, if you're familiar, have a bit of a hump down to make for not such a sharp tip. This one goes very, very straight to a nice pointy tip. But apart from that, apart from the slight guard that the flipper affords, very, very much kind of just a flipping Delica. So very, very nice. Very sort of timeless classic design too. This is from the Taichung, Taiwan factory that Spyderco have, and all their knives come out of there. Generally amongst the knife community, they're known as probably the best fit and finish that Spyderco does. You really don't get too many issues out of the Taichung knives, so let's get a feel for this flipper. Yeah, fairly slight. You can sort of, if you just roll down, it just moves the blade, but give it a bit of a flick press or like a light switch press, as I spoke about in my Kershaw Chill video, and it comes out no worries at all. The steel in this knife is Spyderco CPM M4. Now M4 looks just like a standard stainless steel, but it will tarnish a little bit quicker, but it will have really superior edge retention. It's like a high-speed tool steel. So from the numbers, if you look at the Catra card cutting test, it's definitely up there with your super steels. It's a little bit above Bowler M390, I think. The Catra card test is a really interesting machine that they use to test edge retention on knives. It literally puts the knife into a vise, and the knife is held still, but then it has like a phone book kind of material, just stacks and stacks of paper, just get dragged along the knife edge, and with mild pressure pointing downwards, and it's each layer of it counts as a card cut, and it just does that until the knife stops cutting the cards, so until it effectively loses its edge. And this one cuts 900 cards. So by comparison, say VG10 cuts about 450, S30V cuts about 700. Just all depends on Rockwell as well. So some steels they've tried at different Rockwells and they're a lot different, but very interesting. But anyway, M4, very high performance, super steel or high speed steel or whatever it is. The only thing that's lacking in is apparently stain resistance. So we'll see how that fares. My initial impressions are very positive of the knife. So I'll put it down on the table and I'll bring the camera to the knife and I'll have a bit more of a look at it. But I'll just compare. So that's it against a Benchmade Griptilian. So definitely in that EDC class of knife. So Benchmade Griptilian's got perhaps a slightly shorter cutting edge on its blade, but really it's that sort of 3-ish inch handle, 3-ish inch blade, 4-ish inch handle sort of knife category that I find ideal for everyday carriage. Let's take a close look. Alrighty, so looking at that tip, I'll try and be as steady as I can with my hands. Very nice fine tip. This is just more to assess the fit and finish of the blade, so just really nice smooth spine. The spider hole very crisply cut, so that can cause a little bit of finger discomfort if you use the thumb hole method too slowly, but I'm sure a knife with flips like this should flip open fairly well from the hole as well. So that's I can't quite see what sort of bearings are being used, but I assume it's a ball bearing flipper because of how smooth it is. Down to the standoffs there, you've got, I'm just going to manipulate the knife a little bit. You've got so you've got 2 standoffs there, and you've got, that's it, just the blade apart from that. And that middle standoff is also a tubular lanyard loop there. So there we are. Turn it back there. So the clip, very nice. You can see how it reverses. Unscrew that, and you just pop it in the tracks there. Screw that one in. And just down there. As I hope you can see, it's got a really high level of sort of fit and finish. Everything's just kind of perfectly milled and machined. Very nice knife. Very attractive looking Spyderco. I mean, it's got that Spyderco token bizarreness to it that knife people kind of probably don't get and still won't. But I think it looks quite nice, just the matte subdued. I wouldn't mind a bit of colour perhaps in those standoffs, but maybe that's just because I'm a bit of a Benchmade junkie with their cool little flourishes that they do and such. But looks like a really nice user. Very keen on seeing how the M4 steel holds up as well. Curious to see how it compares to M390, for example, or CCS XHP. I'll move back for a few final thoughts. Alright, so this Spyderco Mantra cost me 275 Australian dollars, which I noticed the Australian dollars is generally the actual US RRP, so it's kind of an interesting little trend I'm seeing. I'll just run down the specs just from Spyderco's website. It's got a 3.16 inch blade, so that does account for being a little bit longer than the Griptilian there. Close length 4.14 inches, overall 7.3 inches. Blade thickness 0.118. It's a Reeve integral lock, is what they call it. Chris Reeve's patented lock, I suppose. And it weighs 3 ounces, which is the same as this Benchmade Griptilian, which does feel about the same. It's funny, the Griptilian feels heavier, more blade heavy, and this definitely feels more sort of handle heavy just when I pick them up from the middle. So Nice stuff. I'll just close it again and just see how it looks from the side. An important part with knives for me is how much space they take sideways in your pocket. So turn it to its non-presentation side. Just pop that on there. I'm just going to measure across. The widest point of this knife, which I'm assuming is about the same as the Delica, which is kind of about here, is about 3.5 centimeters. Widest point of the grip was a little bit less than that at 3 centimeters, so it is a little bit wider than the grip. You see that Spyderco hump sort of protruding out there, just about 0.5 centimeter or so. So yeah, it's the spider hole is, you know, and it was the choice I made. I could have got the narrower Mantra 2, which I suggest you look that up. But I just didn't feel that the thinner blade and because the blade has effectively got no spider hole apart from a little dot, and it goes straight down here. So that part that's showing is pretty much all cut off apart from a straight line going from there to there. And I just thought, because I love how my Benchmade 940 just swings out, and I just thought, I'd love for this knife to just flip out really well, and I think I made the right choice. Sacrifice a little bit of pocket friendliness, which still, it's no American Lawman or anything like that, and it is in fact pretty much the same as any Spyderco, which are all very pocket friendly knives. Let's have a look at the another good steel comparison really. Let's have a look at the Native 5 in CPM 110V. Very similar size knives, actually very similar profile knives, kind of the same width but just in different parts. I prefer the wire clip on this one. It looks just like a nice sort of pen clip or something like that. Less sort of, I like the spoon clip isn't too bad, but I do prefer the clip on that as well. And of course, liner locks are much more fun to play with than lockbacks, and being fun to play with is, in my opinion, one of the most important things of your EDC knife, because if you're like me, you spend more time playing with it than you do actually using it. So it's very much just that accessory thing too. So overall, is it worth $275? Well, I feel like it is. I feel like just as this knife, although it's still kind of just an iteration of a knife, it's not a new and amazing design. This is very much just an iteration of the Delica, in my opinion. I just feel that extension of materials, and just especially with this one, the high fit and finish, high trim quality, all that sort of stuff. I would say yes, it does push it into the being a value. Like, that's a value purchase still. It's not like, say my 940, my Benchmade 940, I'm under no illusions that that is a little bit of a rip-off, paying $320 by the time you get it in Australia. You're just not getting the materials, whereas this you're getting a much sort of higher value steel, and also titanium, whereas in the Benchmade you're getting S30V, which by this stage in the community is quite common, and then titanium, so, and then, sorry, aluminium. So I think in terms of value for money, I think it's there, but I'm under no illusions that that isn't a lot to spend on one knife, so make of that what you will. Let's just do a basic cutting test. Let's cut the tax invoice, because I won't be returning this knife because I do quite like it. Oh, yowzers. It's just the fold there all bunched up. Crikey. You seeing that? Just shaving those little... That is one of the sharper factory edges I've had in my day. That's for sure. Seems to be true what they say about M4 steel. It does take a does take a wicked edge. I just felt that first layer of skin just snag there on my thumb. No cuts, but wowee. Very, very cool. And the other thing about M4 is you'll notice it's not exactly high polish. You can see they've had to, it's probably fairly difficult to work steel, so you do get that kind of grind pattern there. Anyway, Mantra by Spyderco, what do you think? I think it is a pretty sexy flipper knife, and I look forward to using it more, and I'll do a long-term review once I've had it for a month or so in pocket. Cool. Thanks for watching, dudes. I'll see you in the next video.